Together, I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. I'm more convinced than ever that we can win. We have fought up the rough side of the mountain. We can win. I just want young America to do me one favor. Just one favor. Exercise the right to dream.
In 1983, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader and former protege of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., announced his candidacy for President of the United States. Jackson galvanized black people around the country to engage in a campaign for an office that most of us had thought a black person could never win. A black man or a black woman occupying the White House? That was the race's impossible dream.
Jesse Jackson wasn't the first African American to run for president. That would be Shirley Chisholm. But Jesse Jackson's run was incredibly exciting. It wasn't just we might get a black president. We might get a black president with a narrative and an agenda that actually represents what democracy could really look like in this country.
Young people across the country leapt at the chance to work on Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign, reaching out to voters far beyond the black community.
He brought the white feminists, the white farmers, the first GLBT leaders within the Democratic Party. He said, come and take a seat at this table. I have enough room for everybody.
It is my honor to introduce an historical and moral imperative, an American in the most profound sense, America's future, the next president of the United States of America, the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson.
Thank you very much. Tonight, we come together bound by our faith in a mighty God with genuine respect and love for our country and inheriting the legacy of a great party. The Democratic Party, which is the best hope for redirecting our nation on a more humane, just, and peaceful course. This is not a perfect party. We're not a perfect people, yet we are called to a perfect mission. Our mission: to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to house the homeless, to teach the illiterate, to provide jobs for the jobless, and to choose the human race over the nuclear race. We are gathered here this week to nominate a candidate and adopt a platform which will expand, unify, direct, and inspire our party and the nation to fulfill this mission. My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited, the disrespected, and the despised. They are restless and seek relief. They have voted in record numbers. They have invested the faith, hope, and trust that they have in us. The Democratic Party must send them a signal that we care. I pledge my best not to let them down. There is the call of conscience, redemption, expansion, healing, and unity. Leadership must heed the call of conscience, redemption, expansion, healing, and unity, for they are the key to achieving our mission. Time is neutral and does not change things. With courage and initiative, leaders change things. No generation can choose the age or circumstance in which it is born, but through leadership, it can choose to make the age in which it is born an age of enlightenment, an age of jobs and peace and justice. Only leadership, that intangible combination of gifts, discipline, information, circumstance, courage, timing, will, and divine inspiration, can lead us out of the crisis in which we find ourselves. Leadership can mitigate the misery of our nation. Leadership can part the waters and lead our nation in the direction of the promised land. Leadership can lift the boats stuck at the bottom. I've had the rare opportunity to watch 7 men and then 2 pour out their souls, offer their service, and heed the call of duty to direct the course of our nation. There is a proper season for everything. There is a time to sow and a time to reap. There's a time to compete and a time to cooperate. I ask for your vote on the first ballot as a vote for a new direction for this party and this nation. A vote of conviction, a vote of conscience. But I will be proud to support the nominee of this convention for the President of the United States of America. Throughout this campaign, I've tried to offer leadership to the Democratic Party and the nation. If in my high moments I have done some good, offered some service, shed some light, healed some wounds, rekindled some hope, or stirred some rungs of apathy and indifference, or in any way along the way helped somebody, then this campaign has not been in vain. My head, so limited in its finitude, my heart, which is boundless in its love for the human family. I am not a perfect servant. I am a public servant, doing my best against the odds as I develop and serve. Be patient. God is not finished with me yet. This campaign has taught me much, that leaders must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving. We must use the insight, wisdom, and experience of the late Hubert Humphrey as a balm for the wounds in our party, this nation, and the world. We must forgive each other, redeem each other, regroup, and move on. Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is rainbow. Red, yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. America is not like a blanket, one piece of unbroken cloth, the same color, the same texture, the same size. America is more like a quilt, many patches, many pieces, many colors, many sizes, all woven and held together by a common thread. The white, the Hispanic, the black, the Arab, the Jew, the woman, the Native American, the small farmer, the business person, the environmentalist, the peace activist, the young, the old, the lesbian, the gay, and the disabled make up the American quilt. Even in our fractured state, all of us count and fit somewhere. We have proven that we can survive without each other, but we have not proven that we can win and make progress without each other. We must come together. From Fannie Lou Hamer in Atlantic City in 1964 to the Rainbow Coalition in San Francisco today, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, we've experienced pain but progress as we ended America's apartheid laws. We got public accommodations. We secured voting rights. We obtained open housing as young people got the right to vote. We lost Malcolm, Martin, Medgar, Bobby, John, and Viola. The team that got us here must be expanded, not abandoned. "20 years ago, tears welled up in our eyes as the bodies of Swerner, Goodman, and Cheney were dredged from the depths of a river in Mississippi. 20 years later, our communities, black and Jewish, are in anguish, anger, and pain. Feelings have been hurt on both sides. There's a crisis in communications. Confusion is in the air. We cannot afford to lose our way. We may agree to agree or agree to disagree on issues. We must bring back stability to these tensions. We are co-partners in a long and rich religious history, the Judeo-Christian traditions. Many blacks and Jews have a shared passion for social justice at home and peace abroad. We must seek a revival of the spirit inspired by a new vision and new possibilities. We must return to higher ground. We are bound by Moses and Jesus, but also connected with Islam and Muhammad. These three great religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, were all born in the revered and holy city of Jerusalem. We're bound by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rabbi Abraham Heschel, crying out from their graves for us to reach common ground. We're bound by shed blood and shared sacrifices. We are much too intelligent, much too bound by our Judeo-Christian heritage, much too victimized by racism, sexism, militarism, and anti-Semitism, much too threatened as historical scapegoats to grow undivided one from another. We must turn from finger-pointing to clasp hands. We must share our burdens and our joys with each other once again. We must turn to each other and not on each other and choose higher ground. Years later, we could not be satisfied by just restoring the old coalition. Old wineskins must make room for new wine. We must heal and expand. The Rainbow Coalition is making room for Arab Americans. They too know the pain and hurt of racial and religious rejection. They must not continue to be made pariahs. The Rainbow Coalition is making room for Hispanic Americans who this very night are living under the threat of the Simpson-Mazzola bill, and farm workers from Ohio who are fighting the Campbell Soup Company with a boycott to achieve legitimate workers' rights. The rainbow is making room for the Native American, the most exploited people of all, a people with the greatest moral claim amongst us. We support them as they seek the restoration of the ancient land and claim amongst us. We support them as they seek the restoration of land and water rights, as they seek to preserve their ancestral homelands and the beauty of a land that was once all theirs. They can never receive a fair share for all they've given us, but they must finally have a fair chance to develop their great resources and to preserve their people and their culture. The Rainbow Coalition includes Asian Americans now being killed in our streets, scapegoats for the failures of corporate, industrial, and economic policies. The Rainbow is making room for the young Americans. 20 years ago, our young people were dying in a war for which they could not even vote. But 20 years later, young America has the power to stop a war in Central America and the responsibility to vote in great numbers. Young America must be politically active in 1984. The choice is war or peace. We must make room for young America. The rainbow includes disabled veterans. The color scheme fits in the rainbow. The disabled have their handicap revealed and their genius concealed, while the able-bodied have their genius revealed and their disability concealed. But ultimately, we must judge people by their values and their contribution. Don't leave anybody out. I would rather have Roosevelt in a wheelchair than Reagan on a horse. The rainbow is making room for small farmers. They have suffered tremendously under the Reagan regime. They will either receive 90% parity or 100% charity. We must address their concerns and make room for them. The rainbow includes lesbians and gays. No American citizen ought to be denied equal protection under the law. We must be unusually committed and caring as we expand our family to include new members. All of us must be tolerant and understanding as the fears and anxieties of the rejected and the party leadership express themselves in many different ways. Too often, what we call hate, as if it were some deeply rooted philosophy or strategy, is simply ignorance, anxiety, paranoia, fear, and insecurity. To be strong leaders, we must be long-suffering as we seek to right the wrongs of our party and our nation. We must expand our party, heal our party, and unify our party. That is our mission in 1984. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress. Use love to motivate you and obligate you to serve the human family. Young America, dream!
Attention high school seniors and college freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. If you are in need of financial assistance, Push for Excellence offers a variety of scholarships for which you may be eligible to apply. Whether it's the Jesse Jackson Fellows Toyota Scholarship, the Cirillo McSween New York Life Scholarship, or the Oralee Sanders Scholarship, Push for Excellence strives to offer something for everyone. Here are just a few of our scholarship recipients.
Hello everyone viewing, my name is Chidi Osakwe.
Dominique Davis.
Julian Jones.
China Mazum.
Miles Chairman.
Jalen Clark.
Marcus Anderson.
Jaden Reed.
Kari Young.
Ms. Megan Chu, and I'm a Cirillo McSween Scholar.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Reverend Jesse Jackson for all his support of my college education.
Thank you for Olive Toyota for helping with Reverend Jackson with the scholarship as well.
I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you to Reverend Jesse Jackson for helping to make the scholarship opportunity possible for me.
As appreciative as I was before, I'm even more grateful now, having received this scholarship.
Not only has it helped me out financially with paying for tuition, but it has also awarded me the opportunity to learn more about the Rainbow Push Coalition and their different initiatives in the African American community.
I'd like to say thank you to Reverend Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Push Coalition for all the generosity and support that they've shown me throughout my undergraduate career and for the opportunity to pursue higher education.
For more information, please visit our website at www.pushexcel.org and click on the word scholarships. Thank you, and keep hope alive.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
In 1984, I was a producer for NBC News, and I was assigned to cover Jesse Jackson's 1984 presidential campaign. Jackson's campaign was absolutely fascinating. It was really sort of on a wing and a prayer, just kind of cobbled together, but it was an amazing populist grassroots campaign. Without the internet, without Facebook, without even email, Jesse Jackson's campaign was organizing people in communities that had never voted. He was going around saying, you've got to register to vote, you got to get on board, you got to register to ride, you know. And he was trying to make a point that there are people who are disenfranchised, and those people need to be included, and their voices need to be heard.
Under this regime, we look at Social Security. The 81 budget cuts included 9 permanent Social Security benefit cuts totaling $20 billion over 5 years. Small businesses have suffered. On the Reagan tax cuts, only 18% of total business tax cuts went to them, 82% to big business. Health care under Mr. Reagan has been sharply cut. Education under Mr. Reagan has been cut 25%. Under Mr. Reagan, there are now 9.7 million female-head families. They represent 16% of all families. Half of all of them are poor. 70% of all poor children live in a house headed by a woman. where there is no man. Under Mr. Reagan, the administration has cleaned up only 6 of 546 priority toxic waste dumps. Farmers' real net income was only about half its level in 1979. Many say that the race in November will be decided in the South. President Reagan is depending on the conservative South to return him to office. But the South, I tell you, is unnaturally conservative. The South is the poorest region in our nation and therefore the least to conserve. In his appeal to the South, Mr. Reagan is trying to substitute flags and prayer claws for food and clothing and education, health care and housing. Mr. Reagan would ask us to pray, and I believe in prayer. I've come this way by the power of prayer, but then we must watch false prophecy. He cuts indigent assistance to the poor, cut breakfast programs from children, cut lunch programs from children, cut job training from children, and then say to an empty table, let us pray. Apparently, he is not familiar with the structure of a prayer. You thank the Lord for the food that you're about to receive, not the food that just left. I think that we should pray, but don't pray for the food that left. Pray for the man that took the food to leave. We need a change. We need a change in November. Under Mr. Reagan, the misery index has risen for the poor. The danger index has risen for everybody. Under this administration, we've lost the lives of our boys in Central America, in Honduras, in Grenada, in Lebanon, a nuclear standoff in Europe. Under this administration, 1/3 of our children believe they will die in a nuclear war. The danger index is increasing in this world. All the talk about the defense against Russia, the Russian submarines are closer and their missiles are more accurate. We live in a world of night more miserable and the world more dangerous. While Reaganomics and Reaganism is talked about often, so often we miss the real meaning. Reaganism is the spirit, but Reaganomics represent the real economic facts of life. In 1980, Mr. George Bush, a man with reasonable access to Mr. Reagan, did an analysis of Mr. Reagan's economic plan. Mr. George Bush concluded that Reagan's plan was voodoo economics. He was right. Third-party candidate John Anderson said a combination of military spending, tax cuts, and a balanced budget by '84 would be accomplished with blue smoke and mirrors. They were both right. Mr. Reagan talked about a dynamic recovery. There's some measure of recovery. 3.5 years later, unemployment has inched just below where it was when he took office in '81. There are still 8.1 million people officially unemployed, 11 million working only part-time. Inflation has come down, but let's analyze for a moment who has paid the price for this superficial economic recovery. Mr. Reagan curbed inflation by cutting consumer demand. He cut consumer demand with conscious and callous fiscal and monetary policies. He used the federal budget to deliberately induce unemployment and curb social spending. He then waged and supported tight monetary policies of the Federal Reserve Board to deliberately drive up interest rates, again to curb consumer demand created through borrowing. Unemployment reached 10.7%. We experienced skyrocketing interest rates. Our dollar inflated abroad. There were record bank failures, record farm foreclosures, record business bankruptcies, record budget deficits, record trade deficits. Mr. Reagan brought inflation down by destabilizing our economy and disrupting family life. He promised in 1980 a balanced budget, but instead we now have a record $200 billion budget deficit. Under Mr. Reagan, the cumulative budget deficit for his 4 years is more than the sum total of deficits from George Washington to Jimmy Carter combined. I tell you, we need a change. How is he paying for these short-term jobs? Reagan's economic recovery is being financed by deficit spending, $200 billion a year. Military spending, a major cause of this deficit, is projected over the next 5 years to be nearly $2 trillion, and will cost about $40,000 for every taxpaying family. When the government borrows $200 billion annually to finance the deficit, this encourages the private sector to make its money off of interest rates, as opposed to development and economic growth. Even money abroad, we don't have enough money domestically to finance the debt, so we are now borrowing money abroad from foreign banks, governments, and financial institutions. $40 billion in 1983, $70 to $80 billion in 1984, 40% of our total, over $100 billion, 50% of our total in 1985. By 1989, it is projected that 50% of all individual income taxes will be going just to pay for interest on that debt. The United States used to be the largest exporter of capital, but under Mr. Reagan, we will quite likely become the largest debtor nation. To depend on foreign military powers to protect our national security would be foolish, making us dependent and less secure. Yet Reaganomics has us increasingly dependent on foreign economic sources. This consumer-led but deficit finance recovery is unbalanced and artificial. We have a challenge as Democrats to point a way out. Democracy guarantees opportunity, not success. Democracy guarantees the right to participate, not a license for either a majority or a minority to dominate. The victory for the Rainbow Coalition in the platform debates today was not whether we won or lost, but that we raised the right issues. We could afford to lose the vote. Issues are non-negotiable. We could not afford to avoid raising the right questions. Our self-respect and our moral integrity were at stake. Our heads are perhaps bloody, but not bowed. Our back is straight. We can go home and face our people. Our vision is clear. When we think on this journey from slave ship to championship, that we've gone from the planks of the boardwalk in Atlantic City in 1964 to fighting to help right the planks in the platform in San Francisco in '84, there is a deep and abiding sense of joy in our souls in spite of the tears in our eyes. Though there are missing planks, there is a solid foundation upon which to build. Our party can win, but we must provide hope which will inspire people to struggle and achieve, provide a plan that shows a way out of our dilemma, and then lead the way. In 1984, my heart is made to feel glad because I know there is a way out. Justice. The requirement for rebuilding America is justice. The linchpin of progressive politics in our nation will not come from the North. They, in fact, will come from the South. That is why I argue over and over again. We look from Virginia around to Texas. There's only one black congressperson out of 115. 19 years later, we're locked out the Congress, the Senate, and the governor's mansion. What does this large black vote mean? Why do I fight to end second primaries and fight gerrymandering and annexation and that large? Why do we fight over that? Because I tell you, you cannot hold someone in the ditch unless you linger there with them. Unless you linger there. If you want a change in this nation, you enforce that Voting Rights Act, we'll get 12 to 20 black, Hispanic, female, and progressive congresspersons from the South. We can save the cotton, but we got to fight the boll weevils. We got to make a judgment. We got to make a judgment. It's not enough to hope ERA will pass. How can we pass ERA? If blacks vote in great numbers, progressive whites win. It's the only way progressive whites win. If blacks vote in great numbers, Hispanics win. When blacks, Hispanics, and progressive whites vote, women win. When women win, children win. When women and children win, workers win. We must all come up together. We must come up together. Thank you. I tell you, in all of our joy and excitement, we must not save the world and lose our souls. We should never short circuit enforcing the Voting Rights Act at every level. When one of us rise, all of us will rise. Justice is a way out. Peace is a way out. We should not act as if nuclear weaponry is negotiable and debatable. In this world in which we live, we dropped the bomb on Japan and felt guilty. But in 1984, other folks also got bombed. This time, we dropped the bomb 6 minutes later. We too will be destroyed. It's not about dropping the bomb on somebody. It's about dropping the bomb on everybody. We must choose to develop minds over guided missiles and think it out and not fight it out. It's time for a change. Foreign policy must be characterized by mutual respect, not by gunboat diplomacy, big stick diplomacy, and threats. Our nation at its best feeds the hungry. Our nation at its worst will mine the harbors of Nicaragua. At its worst, will try to overthrow that government. At its worst, will cut aid to American education and increase aid to El Salvador. At its worst, our nation will have partnership with South Africa. That's a moral disgrace. It's a moral disgrace. It's a moral disgrace. We look at Africa. We cannot just focus on apartheid in Southern Africa. We must fight for trade with Africa and not just aid to Africa. We cannot stand idly by and say we will not relate to Nicaragua unless they have elections there and then embrace military regimes in Africa, overthrowing democratic governments in Nigeria and Liberia and Ghana. We must fight for democracy all around the world and play the game by one set of rules. Peace in this world. Our present formula for peace in the Middle East is inadequate. It will not work. There are 22 nations in the Middle East. Our nation must be able to talk and act and influence all of them. We must build upon Camp David and measure human rights by one yardstick. In that region, we have too many interests and too few friends. There's a way out: jobs. Put America back to work and use that money and provide jobs for our cities, and use that money to build schools and pay teachers and educate our children and build hospitals and train doctors and train nurses. The whole nation will come running to us. As I leave you now, and we vote in this convention and get ready to go back across this nation in a couple of days, in this campaign, I tried to be faithful to my promise. I lived in El Barrios, ghettos, Indian reservations growing up. But I understand a little better now. If you raise up truth, it's magnetic. It has a way of drawing people. With all this confusion in this convention and bright lights and parties and big fun, we must raise up the simple proposition. If we lift up a program to feed the hungry, they'll come running. If we lift up a program to study war no more, our youth will come running. If we lift up a program to put America back to work as an alternative to welfare and despair, they will come working. If we cut that military budget without cutting our defense and use that money to rebuild bridges and put steel workers back to work, and use that money and provide jobs for our cities, and use that money to build schools and pay teachers and educate our children and build hospitals and train doctors and train nurses, the whole nation will come running to us. As I leave you now, and we vote in this convention and get ready to go back across this nation in a couple of days, in this campaign, I tried to be faithful to my promise. I lived in El Barrios, ghettos, Indian reservations, and housing projects. I have a message for our youth. I challenge them to put hope in their brains and not dope in their veins. I told them that like Jesus, I too was born in the slum, but just because you're born in the slum does not mean the slum is born in you, and you can rise above it if your mind is made up. I told them in every slum there are two sides. When I see a broken remnant, that's the slummy side. Train some youth to become a glazer, that's the sunny side. When I see a missing brick, that's the slummy side. Let that child in the union and become a brick mason and build, that's the sunny side. When I see a missing door, that's the slummy side. Train some youth to become a carpenter, that's the sunny side. When I see the vulgar words and hieroglyphics of destitution on the walls, that's the slummy side. Train some youth to become a painter and artist, that's the sunny side. We leave this place looking for the sunny side because there's a brighter side somewhere. I'm more convinced than ever that we can win. We'll fought up the rough side of the mountain. We can win. I just want young America to do me one favor. Just one favor. Exercise the right to dream. You must face reality, that which is, but then dream of the reality that ought to be, that must be. Live beyond the pain of reality with the dream of a bright tomorrow. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress. Use love to motivate you and obligate you to serve the human family. Young America, dream. Choose the human race over the nuclear race. Bury the weapons and don't burn the people. Dream. Dream of a new value system. Teachers who teach for life and not just for a living. Teach because they can't help it. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice than a judgeship. Dream of doctors more concerned about public health than personal wealth. Dream of preachers and priests who will prophesy and not just profiteer. Preach and dream. Our time has come. Our time has come. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. Our time has come. Our faith, hopes, and dreams will prevail. Our time has come. Weeping has endured for a night, but now joy cometh in the morning. Our time has come. No grave can hold our body down. Our time has come. No lie can live forever. Our time has come. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come. We've come from disgrace to amazing grace. Our time has come. Give me your tithe, give me your poor, your huddled masses who yearn to breathe free, and come November, there will be a change because our time has come. Thank you and God bless you. Give me a phone. Give me a phone.
3.5 million people cast their votes for Jesse Jackson. Some estimated that as many as 20% of the African Americans who voted for him had never voted before. Though he fell short of winning the Democratic nomination, Jesse Jackson's 1984 presidential bid changed the political landscape forever.
Long before there was a Barack Obama, there was a Reverend Jesse Jackson, and he was lifting up little kids all across America, believing that they too one day can become president of the United States. He taught us that our voices matter, and we should leverage the power of our vote.
People often ask, why should I vote? And to be honest, voting is a sacred right. And if it wasn't so important, then there would not have been a distinctive effort to minimize one's vote. So while the 2024 election may seem far away, it really is right around the corner. So I want to encourage you to start thinking to yourself, do I have my voter plan together? Do I know where my polling location is? Do I know who's going to be on the ballot this election? And don't just ask this question of yourselves, but I want to encourage you to talk to your family and friends about this as well. Because here's the thing, voting is the one way in which you can actively participate in bringing about the change that you want to see. But to be completely honest with you, voting alone is not enough. It is so important that those of us who can and are willing to do so, that we put forth the effort to assist those in our community who might have challenges at the polls. So if you are interested in assisting others, then I would like to encourage you to participate in election protection. There are so many components to the election protection program. We have a hotline of volunteers who answer questions for those who call in, but we also have an election protection program where we have poll monitors and we have poll watchers. And this is where you can actively participate in your community and be at the polls to assist voters and to monitor what's going on at all times. If this is something that you are interested in, please reach out to us at Common Cause Illinois, where we would love to talk to you more about the program that we have. As I mentioned, it seems like the primaries are far away, but they are just around the corner. So make sure that you're prepared and that you have everything together for you to be able to vote. And the very first step that you need to take to do that is make sure that you're registered. But please be an active participant in this upcoming election, and don't just stop at voting. Try to find some of the various ways that you can get involved, whether it's election protection or other programs that might be out there. And if you yourself are a voter who runs into issues at the polls, then please be sure that around election time and during early voting, that you reach out to the hotline, 866-OUR-VOTE, and someone will be there to assist you.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444 to support the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of two words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children. Don't get it. Shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution. Progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive. Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural gaps.
Going forward. By hope. Not backwards. By fear.